4 or 5 years ago was when it all really started to click for me and why things weren't making sense. I was really struggling with my relationship with the church at that point, and I was talking to my ex-husband about how things were not starting to line up. I just stumbled across yet another article of a big Christian camp called Kanakuk, where they had made girls sign NDAs for the abuse that they endured while they were there. My ex-husband is a pastor, was a pastor, and so he kind of came back at me and told me that the reason I was struggling is that I was spending too much time online, I wasn't reading my Bible enough, I wasn't praying enough, and that's why I wasn't able to see that these people were just people who stumble. And that was a really, really crazy thought to me, because how are you going to have people in leadership who do awful things, who claim to be Christians, but then actually just turned around and weaponized it? I began my divorce process a couple years later. I realized that that line of thinking is generational and it's brainwashed. My ex-mother-in-law took me on a walk because I had been kind of sharing my deconstruction process about some of the books that I was reading to kind of help me get through it. And when that didn't work in terms of making me want to stay married, she wrote me a letter and said the exact same thing, that it was because I was reading other materials other than the Bible. And then I also had to meet with all of the church members whenever I wanted to get a divorce, because that's just how it goes, and I had to share all my personal information with them. And when I presented all of my concerns and the things that were happening within my marriage, the church counselor told me that it's going to be okay and that I should forgive him because he was sorry, and they called him a knucklehead, but that he was going to learn how to do better. So it was really weird just seeing kind of the widespread same pattern of thinking within my own personal life, within extended family, and within the church we attended. And the last few years has just really solidified for me that my own spiritual religious journey over the last few years to kind of step away from my involvement in the church, because I don't think that's where Jesus is actually found, and I think he's found more inside us and more around us, if that makes sense. I don't really know why I even got on here to talk about this, but I think just seeing everything now with the lens of how it affected me, and knowing that that is actually the world's reality, basically gaslighting the American citizens about how things aren't that bad and kind of waving their awful ways and not having any repercussions for it, it's just been happening in several areas for a very long time.